The Titans win in Houston. Final score 32-27. They pulled it off. Will Levis looked pretty good. Also had some down moments. A true roller coaster. I think the full Will Levis experience. We're going to break down and react to this win now. This is the Music City Audible. Let's get to it. Oh, welcome everyone to another episode of the Music City Audible podcast presented by Broadway Sports Media in partnership with 440 Sports. I'm Justin Graver. With me, as always, Justin Melo. And Justin, for just the third time this season, we get to come on this podcast and react to a Titans win. How's it going?
It's going well. That was fun. That was exciting. I enjoyed the heck out of it. I don't care what anyone says. I enjoyed the heck out of it. Titans win in Houston's always fun. Screw those Houston Texans team, right? So it was fun.
I think Amy Adams-Strunk would retain a head coach who went 2-15 every single year for eternity if those two wins were against the Houston Texans. This was a wild game, Justin. The back and forth nature of it. Tennessee gives up a very, very, very quick touchdown. 18 seconds into the game, basically. Well, 18 seconds into the 18 seconds into the game, they give up a touchdown off a huge 80-yard kick return. Texans score on the next play, but then the Titans score 17 straight points from there to take a 17-7 lead. After that, they let Houston back into it. They get the tie. The game becomes tied at 17-all after Tony Pollard and Will Levis have a missed exchange. Not sure who was officially at fault there, but Levis took the fumble in the stat sheet. Not a very clean handoff. And the Texans tie it up, but the Titans take the lead back right before halftime. Despite giving up 7 first-half sacks, they lead 20-17 going into the half. Come out of halftime, get another field goal on the board, and it looks like everything's going the Titans' way when Kenneth Murray picks off C.J. Stroud over the middle of the field for the Titans' second interception of the game. And just a few plays later, Will Levis throws a pick six, taking 60 yards the other direction. Houston goes back up 24-23. Titans respond by punting the ball 3 and out, 4 plays, -7 yards. The Texans get another field goal, and then out of nowhere, it feels like all hope is lost. Will Levis hits Chigakonkwo on a pretty basic concept, and he does the rest of the work, rumbling 70 yards to the end zone to push the lead back to Tennessee's sideline, 30-27 after the extra point. It feels like the Titans have a chance to ice the game, but they can't get a first down, so they punt it back to Houston. And C.J. Stroud, under immense pressure after already being sacked by Jeffrey Simmons, runs out the back of the end zone. Safety credited to Harold Landry. Titans are able to pull off the win 32-27. We got to talk about Will Levis, though, Justin. All the crazy plays that happened will probably end up being lost in what is a mostly forgotten season, obviously, with the Titans record now sitting at 3-8. Doesn't really help their playoff chances because those are all but over. But man, we are going to be talking about this Will Levis game, I think, for the rest of the season, for the offseason, as we debate what the Titans should do at quarterback. For the first half especially, he looked really good whenever he wasn't taking a sack. How did you think he played today?
I thought it was essentially a continuation of what we saw against the Chargers in Minnesota.
I agree.
I thought there were some big-time throws. I mean, obviously hitting NWI on the touchdown, that was just the arm talent on display. Hitting Calvin Ridley on the, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11 with the throw that only he could make in the entire NFL. That was gorgeous. Was it like 50-something yards
63,
on, I think, a 3rd and 8?
63 yards.
63 yards, 3rd and 8, 3rd and long, clean pocket. And, just kind of hung one out there and Ridley gets underneath it. There was one second half. I think my favorite throw was the one to Calvin Ridley. I think it was in the second half. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
I looked like a bit of a boot. He's going away from the pressure. I think there were 2 Texans defenders closing on him, and I'm like, this is definitely a sack. He'd already taken, 8 in the first half?
Seven in the first half.
7 sacks in the first half. I go, this is definitely a sack, but in true Will Levis fashion, you never know what's going to happen. That was a gorgeous, gorgeous throw to Calvin Ridley to move the chains on that down. Mixed bag, of course, the pick six, not great. I don't think it was certainly not his worst of the season, obviously, because he's had so much worse, but not good. Don't get me wrong. Kind of telegraphs it. It felt like you tell me, but it felt like a bit of a predetermined pre-snap and he just doesn't come off it, right?
Yeah.
Like he just kind of sings. And you know what, though? I think what's not going to be said enough, and I said it in the group chat, it's not a good play. I'm not here to defend it, but credit to Titans D, because I think what gets lost in it is the situation, the down and distance. That is, what was it, like 3rd and 16, 3rd and 17, something along those lines. Titans are facing like a 58 to 60-yard field goal. Typically, that defense is going to play soft and give you 5-6 yards, right? Prevent the first down. You settle for a 52, 53-yard field goal attempt. That's what Will Levis was expecting pre-snap, and that's why he just did what he did post-snap. But credit Jimmy Ward. He sits on it. He knows that's what they want to do. He says, we're not playing soft. I think we got a chance to create a turnover here. We know the type of quarterback we're playing against, right? Let's not underestimate that. We can bait him into this. But I do credit the Texans defense for playing it aggressively, because I don't think the Titans were expecting that. They're going to give us 5 yards here and let us try the field goal. So it was a game-changing play. It was and it wasn't. It was, but it didn't end the game, because what a miraculous comeback.
And what's crazy, I mean, I've seen some speculation that like Brian Callahan's to blame for the play calling that led up to that, putting Will Levis in that position. It was a 3rd and 11 from the Houston 40. Yeah. So they were not quite in field goal range. This 57, 58-yard field goal from there. They did need a few more yards. You could have run a draw to Tony Pollard just to try to get those yards safely, especially after your quarterback had already taken 7 sacks in the first half, and you're trying to keep his confidence up so that he doesn't make a game-wrecking play like he ended up doing, and then came back on the very next drive and looked very hesitant, took the sack. I think, I haven't looked up the numbers, but I would guess that was by far his longest time to sack, from snap to sack, where he just stood in the pocket and held onto the ball forever and then finally got taken down. That was the next drive. So I do think he might have been rattled a little bit by that and not wanting to make another mistake. I'm not going to blame Brian Callahan's play calling for Levis throwing an intercept. Like, he's still, like we said in the Miami, when he threw that horrible pick against Miami. Yeah. Was it Miami? Yeah, Miami. Like, you're still allowed to see the defender, even if you're not expecting him to be there. You're still allowed to react post-snap. And I saw some other speculation that Levis was expecting Westbrook-Ikhine to run inside that defender, and he curled around the back of him. Maybe so, but even so, like, as you're releasing the ball, you can see where that play is going if you're a high-level processor at quarterback. And, that might be one of the downfalls of Will Levis at this point, is I don't know if he is a high-level processor. The sacks that he took, I do think the overall impact of this season and being under pressure this season led to a lot of the sacks where he ran directly into the pressure, where he had a mostly clean pocket. Feels like the internal clock goes off, where it's like, okay, I got to bail now because I've been here too long. Tries to run forward for yards and runs, I think, 2 or 3 times directly into a sack. Is that something you can coach out of him? I think so. I think he's got this mental clock going off where he's like, I have to bail. I don't care if it's a clean pocket. I don't even know if it's a clean pocket or not. I just know I can't stand in here this long, because every time I've done it this season, I've taken a sack. So I'm not going to hold those against him too much. It's still the number one area we need to see improvement down the stretch this season to, solidify him as a true franchise quarterback, is his ability to deal with those pressure situations and manage those clean pockets and not run into sacks. But aside from that aspect and the one pick six, the one bad throw, bad decision he made all day, other than those aspects, which are big aspects, but overall, when you're evaluating a guy who started less than a full season, I thought he played pretty dang good today. I thought he played good enough today to continue establishing himself as the guy for the Titans, at least for another season. You still want to see him continue to correct these mistakes, but something he did today that he hasn't done in any other game this year was win. And not just win, but lead a comeback. Yeah. And granted, it took a massive play from Chigakonkwo that Will Levis didn't have to do a whole lot on that play, but he also helped build the lead to the point where that comeback only needed one big play. You didn't need 3 scoring drives and stops from he put the offense in a position where they only needed one big play to make the comeback, and you overcome the Pollard fumble, his pick six, the Jaquan Jackson fumbled punt return that put the Texans in field goal range. The Texans had scored at one point in the second half 10 points without converting a first down because of Titans turnovers. So to overcome all of that adversity as a team, but also for Levis himself as a quarterback, who we've seen be rattled and shaken this season, I thought this was a huge step forward for his development. And you love to get a win, even if you're rooting for draft position at this point because you know the team isn't going anywhere postseason wise. It's still nice to see them come together, execute under Brian Callahan, get Callahan a win, like I mentioned before, get Amy Adams-Strunk a win against Houston. Like all these things in Houston, all these things do matter, even if you are like, oh, they screwed up the tank job. Like that's one way to feel. But for me, like I'm excited as a Titans fan to see them beat their division rivals today.
I'm excited too. I got a lot of quick points to make. I'm going to try to go rapid fire. I'm excited because did you watch those college quarterbacks play on Saturday? Yeah. Who gives a shit? No one, like you're not drafting one. And I don't like if someone trading up for one, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like they shouldn't, maybe, but they shouldn't. So it's like, it's starting to mean a little less, I think, picking number 1, 2 overall, because who the hell is trading up for a quarterback and you're not taking one? On the defense, I want to quickly shout out. You talked about that Jaquan Jackson fumbled punt. That happened after the Levis pick 6. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you're down 1 at that point. Then the fumble happens. What a disaster, right? Total disaster. Credit a defense that's in the secondary, playing without Cheeto Awuzie, playing without L'Jarius Sneed, playing without Amani Hooker, which they did not expect, playing without Quandre Diggs, 4 of the best 5 secondary players coming into this year, relying on Jarvis Brownlee Jr. and Mike Brown and Darrell Baker and all these guys we really did not expect to see. Who was the other safety today? I don't even recall. It was Mike Brown and who? Was it Darrell Worley?
Yes.
Like, you kidding me? You know what I mean? And they made CJ Stroud look incredibly ordinary all afternoon long. Getting that stop is the difference in that game that no one's going to talk about because you lost all momentum, disaster on top of disaster. And if they score a touchdown there, it's game over. And they had great field position. Titans hold them to 3, give them a fighting chance. The trick play happens right after. So credit that defense. On Levis, 8 sacks. I'd be shocked if at least 5 of them were on him, probably, of stepping up into pressure. Like J.C. Latham, rough game for him. At least 2 of those sacks were on him. Not going to spend any time on it. You know what? There are other good football players in the National Football League. Danielle Hunter's one of the elite ones. It is what it is. He got the better of him today. We've seen enough of J.C. Latham to flush it and say it's not a big deal. Tavondre Sweat, first career sack. Should have put some money on that. Not shocked it happened in Texas in front of family and friends. And what a rep. Throwing that double team it looked like initially, then throwing that guard to the ground to get around and to get to CJ. I just echo what you said on Will Levis. The sacks are certainly a problem. Same issue every week with the pocket presence. The pick, I'm glad you said the Miami game. I felt the same way about it like I did the Miami game. It was one that I don't think is, catastrophic, but he's allowed to see it and come off it, and he just doesn't. But again, another step forward for him, I think. It's weird to say outstanding because when you take 8 sacks and you throw a pick 6, I don't know if it's our standards are too low, but other than that, I really did think the arm talent, the big time throws, the ability to rally, the adversity, again, and hitting explosives, right? You have the explosive to NWI for a TD. You have the 60-yard explosive to Calvin Ridley when you're facing 3rd and long. He did a lot of bad things in this football game, but he also did a lot of really good things. And I think this trajectory, if you will, is still pointing up over these last 3 weeks.
Absolutely. You're seeing improvement, continued improvement, and more consistency. Yeah, he had a few bad plays today, but I think if you look at, if I were to make a bar graph of Will Levis, bad plays to good plays and impactfulness of the bad plays to good plays, for the first half of the season, it was bad plays up here, good plays down here. And over the last few games, it has been doing this, where the one side is going down, bad play side is going down. If you're just listening on audio, I'm moving my hands around. Bad plays bar is going down, good plays bar is going up. There's still bad plays, but the good plays and mostly the impact of those good plays are starting to outweigh the bad, because in those first few games of the season, he wasn't hitting giant explosives down the field. We were wondering where were those plays like we saw against Atlanta last year, like we saw against Pittsburgh and Miami last year. Where were those plays this season? Well, now we're starting to see them, and the soul-crushing mistakes that lose you football games are decreasing significantly. Like Will Levis said in a press conference earlier this week, well, I haven't thrown it underhand or chest past it, so that's an improvement, he said jokingly, but it's so true. He hasn't done that. And even the pick 6, would you like him to see it better and make a better decision? Yes, but at least it wasn't one of those, I'm desperate, so my brain just shuts off and I'm just handing the ball to the other team. There are different categories that we can put these types of turnovers into, and this one wasn't as bad. So, this is one that you would see even high-level quarterbacks sometimes get fooled, sometimes make a bad decision and make a bad throw, and that felt more like one of those than I'm getting sacked, so I'm just going to chuck the ball short to the sideline and let it be pick 6 that way, So overall, I think
Agreed.
a good game. I do think Brian Callahan called a very conservative second half until they had to get aggressive and go retake the lead. And I do think that may have contributed to the turnover. I sort of alluded to that earlier, but I'm still not putting the blame for it on him. He knows that his quarterback is prone to taking sacks and prone to turning the ball over. And they have a lead in the second half. So he kind of shut things down. He did sort of coach not to lose versus coaching to win. But at the end of the day, he did get the win. So it worked out. And you know what, Justin? That's our segue into I'll Drink to That, brought to you by Sinkers Beverages. I'm drinking to Brian Callahan getting this win for the owner, for the team, for every person who's put in all the work this season and seen themselves come up short so many times, whether it be because of a mistake by the quarterback, the defense giving up a late touchdown. Last week, the penalties just overwhelmingly ruining your chances of winning. Like, these guys never quit on their coach. They never quit on the team. The locker room stuck together, and they pulled out a massive win today against a playoff team. And that is great growth for what this team can do next year. Like I said, it's not going to change this season, but it gives you something to build on as you head down the stretch and into the offseason. So that's what I'm drinking to today, Justin.
Yeah, I'm drinking to something similar. I'm drinking to picking up this win and saying, screw the draft position. I love beating the Texans. It's a whole lot of fun. Love beating them. Love beating them in Houston. I'm never going to look at that and say, damn it, the draft pick, especially when we're not talking about Arch Manning or DJ Legway here.
Right.
We're talking about what Jalen Monroe, whatever the hell he did on Saturday, and Cam Ward keeps throwing the same interception every week. So, yeah, I'm drinking to picking up this win. And can I say something very simple? And we're going to end on this note. We'll probably end the episode, and we'll end I'll Drink to That on this note. Even if the Titans lost that game at the end there, you know what I enjoyed the most about that? Didn't you have fun?
Yeah.
Like, isn't it? If you would have told me the Titans are 3-8 this season, or they're, a little disappointment there, no doubt about it, but they're scoring 30-plus points. But Will Levis is hitting explosive plays. I had fun.
Right.
Good old-fashioned fun. I haven't had a lot of that this year. Watching the Titans, none of us had. That's the truth. That was fun. That's why we watch on Sundays, right? Again, I'm doubling down. Houston could have came back at the end and won that game. I think, yes, probably would have been a little disappointed because you love beating them there, but it still would have been fun.
Right.
Right? So I enjoyed the hell out of it.
The only thing that would have made this win better is if they had done it in the Oilers uniforms. Why are they only wearing them once this year? I don't know.
I saw a lady in the crowd in a Texans. Did you see that? A Texans jersey and a Houston Oilers hat. I almost took a photo of her and tweeted, I don't know who she's rooting for. I'm very confused because it sure as shit doesn't look like the Texans because that's a Titans hat she has on.
That's damn right. One thing I'll say about the exciting fun aspect, if the Titans are scoring over 30, but they're just coming up short and Will Levis is airing it out, that's what I was expecting going into the year.
Same.
I thought the defense would not be great, but that Callahan would have Will Levis in the offense humming, and that they'd have to win shootouts if they were going to win games, and that maybe they would be capable, maybe they wouldn't. And so now it's coming to fruition now that most of the defense is out and injured. It's actually happening, and Will Levis is gaining that confidence in the system. One last little note that we have to say, the special teams is still an absolute disaster. Absolute disaster. I mean, you give up an 80-yard return to open the game. You fumble a punt. You give up another big return later in the game. You can't get anything. You field a punt inside the 5 that you should be letting bounce, even if they're going to down it at the 1. You take that chance there. There's just so many miscues consistently. Nick Folk was great today, so you give him credit for that. The special teams forced a potential game-tying field goal towards the end of regulation there from the Texans, although we're giving zero credit to them for that because Kaimi Fairbairn just hooked it.
And look, Cole Anderson can't catch the punts, right? I'm not Jaquan Jackson drops the punt. It's the coverage it's the 80-yard return that bothers me, right? It's every week, it's the same shit.
Right, exactly. So that's just, put a pin in it till the offseason because nothing's going to change right now, but it's just another week. We got to talk about a special teams error or multiple, and it's just getting a little bit frustrating from that front. I'll Drink to That, brought to you by Sinkers Beverages, the premier wine, spirits, and beer store in East Nashville, serving the community since 1985. Their knowledgeable staff is proud to help you with large parties, themed events, or finding something unique for a special occasion. From birthday parties to milestone celebrations to everyday moments, Sinkers can help with the right drink for every occasion. If you head to the sinkersbeverages.com website or check the link in this podcast description, you can join the in crowd. In-crowd members get access to allocated wines and spirits, exclusive events, early access to barrel releases, and more. Plus, Sinkers Beverages is on Uber Eats. So head out to Sinkers right now to celebrate this Titans win. You may not get many more chances. Although I will say, Justin, if they play like they did today, they got a chance to be one of these like frisky berserker teams down the stretch that ruins somebody's season who's fighting for a wild card spot. Like,
couple more wins on the schedule if they keep playing this way. They got the Commanders next week, who just lost to the Cowboys.
Commanders look
not
like
playing good football.
They're in a spiral of death. The Jags are still a hot mess. They're off this week. We'll see if that helps them at all. But the Titans
might sweep the Jags.
Yeah, the Titans still have 2 games against Jacksonville. And hey, if the Titans win out, they'll finish 9-8, and you can make the wild card at 9-8.
4 division games left after today's win.
Just saying.
2 against Jacksonville.
Just saying. I'm not going to start getting my hopes up, but just saying. All right, that'll do it for this one. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Will Levis, continue what you're doing, young man, and things could be looking up. May your game day be delicious, Justin. That'll do it. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks to Sinkers Beverages. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Drop a comment below. What'd you think of this game? Where are you at on Will Levis after these last 3 weeks? The consistency is coming along. The better play is coming along. The stats are coming with it. He was averaging like 159 yards per game the first half of the season. Over almost 300 yards passing today, finished with 278, started the game 11 for 11. I mean, just a great game for Levis. I'm getting lost in my wrap up here. So until next time, am I just going to end it? Yeah, until next time. You want to say anything else, Justin?
Y'all stay safe out there and tighten up.
Tighten up this week. Tighten up.
Yeah, you're not hitting the tighten down button. It's tighten up. They scored 30 points. They won in Houston. Tighten up twice.
Tighten up.
A Broadway sports media production.